If you're deciding between Vanguard Cash Plus and Fidelity Cash Management for your idle cash, the obvious move looks like the higher yield. Vanguard's paying 3.35% right now. Fidelity's default sweep pays 1.84. That's a $480 gap every year on $100,000. But here's what nobody tells you. One of these accounts won't let you spend a single dollar from it without an outbound transfer first. One charges a quiet $25 fee every year that most account holders never even check for. And one quietly flips your FDIC insurance off the moment you try to close that yield gap. So which one actually wins? Depends entirely on whether you spend the cash or hold it. I opened both and used each as my primary spending account for 30 days. But here's exactly what happened. We're going to compare these two accounts across 6 things that actually change the outcome. Base yield on idle cash. The spending side, which means debit card, checks, ATM access, and bill pay. FDIC and SIPC coverage, and where your insurance actually lives. The quiet fees almost nobody talks about. How each one integrates with the brokerage you already use. And finally, which type of holder each account is built for. Because the honest answer isn't the same for everyone. Quick disclaimer up front. I'm sharing research and a 30-day personal test. This is not financial advice. Rates and features can change at any time, so verify the current numbers directly with each provider before moving any real money. And on tax questions, talk to a tax professional about your specific situation. Both accounts are pitched the same way. Park your cash here. Earn more than your traditional bank. Use this as your checking replacement. That's the marketing. The reality is more complicated. Vanguard Cash Plus is the newer of the two. It launched as an invitation-only pilot in August of 2022 at 2.25%. Vanguard officially opened it to the public in March of 2024. So it's barely 2 years old as a public product. Fidelity Cash Management has been around since the early 2000s. Mature. Battle-tested. The rough edges already sanded down. That maturity gap shows up directly in the spending side, which we'll get to in a minute. Now, how do these two firms actually make money on you? Both run a multi-bank sweep program. Your cash gets distributed across partner banks behind the scenes. Vanguard names 14 partners on its disclosure, including Valley National, Citibank, Synchrony, Truist, and HSBC. Fidelity also uses a multi-bank sweep, with a wider FDIC ceiling we'll cover later. The bank pays a wholesale rate. The brokerage takes a cut. You get the retail rate. That spread is the whole business. It's also why these rates are variable, not fixed. Anything either of them advertises today can change next quarter. The recent move that matters most? Vanguard added a 0.25% promotional boost on top of its base rate, running through September 30th, 2026. That boost is what's driving the headline number you see on their site. So let's start with the number everyone clicks for. The yield. Vanguard Cash Plus right now, 3.35%. That breaks down as a 3.10% base rate plus a 0.25% promotional boost. The boost is set to expire at the end of September 2026. After that, unless they renew it, you're back to 3.10. Fidelity Cash Management's default sweep? 1.84%. That's the FDIC bank sweep rate right out of the box. Vanguard is paying about 1.5 percentage points more on the default. On a $10,000 balance, that's about $150 a year. On $50,000, you're looking at roughly $750. On $100,000 idle for a full year, the gap is about $480 at the boosted rate. Closer to $350 if you imagine the boost has already expired. Meaningful. But here's where Fidelity has a counter move most viewers don't know about. Inside the cash management account, you can elect SPXX as your core position. SPXX is the Fidelity Government Money Market Fund. Its 7-day yield as of early February 2026 was about 3.33%. So if you flip your core to SPYXX, you basically close the yield gap. You go from 1.84 to roughly 3.33. The catch? When you switch your core to SPYXX, Your money is no longer FDIC insured. It's protected under SIPC instead. Same $500,000 coverage cap, but with a $250,000 cash sub-limit. SIPC protects you from broker failure, not from market loss. SPAXX itself is a money market fund. It's extremely conservative, but it's not federally insured the way an FDIC bank account is. Most of the Reddit users we read through don't realize this swap happens automatically when they elect SPAXX. They think they're still FDIC protected. They aren't. So who wins on yield? On default, Vanguard, by a wide margin. With SPAXX elected, Fidelity nearly closes the gap. But you give up FDIC coverage to do it. That's the first hidden trade-off. And it sets up the next axis, where the answer flips completely. Here's where the script flips, because once you actually try to use the cash in these accounts, Vanguard falls apart. Vanguard Cash Plus has no debit card. Zero. You cannot swipe at a grocery store. You cannot pull cash from an ATM. There is simply no card. As of April 2026, Vanguard reportedly hired a director of debit card and money movement. Translation? They know it's a problem. A card may be coming. But it isn't here yet. Fidelity Cash Management gives you a real Visa debit card. You can swipe it anywhere Visa is accepted. You can pull cash from over 1 million ATMs worldwide. And here's the part that genuinely surprised me. Fidelity reimburses every ATM fee. Domestic. International. There is no cap. I tested it. I pulled the equivalent of $2,000 at a foreign ATM in another country during my 30-day test. The local bank charged me about 3%. Fidelity reimbursed every dollar within a few business days. As of September 2024, Fidelity also eliminated foreign transaction fees on the debit card itself. So if you travel internationally, this is a genuine checking replacement account. Vanguard simply isn't. Now, what about checks and bill pay? Fidelity has full check writing. Vanguard has none. Fidelity has a reliable bill pay system. Vanguard has bill pay technically available through the routing and account numbers, but it's inconsistent. There's a Bogleheads post from April of 2025 from a user who tried to pay college tuition out of Cash Plus. Now, the payment got declined. Other times, it works. The user wrote, quote, "The payment system is inconsistent. It works sometimes, but not always." End quote. That is not what you want from a primary bill pay account. Mobile check deposit, both have it. Direct deposit, both have it. Venmo and PayPal compatibility through a routing number, both have it. Wire transfers. Fidelity is zero from their side, in and out. Vanguard's wire fees are not transparent on their public page. One more thing on the Fidelity card. The daily purchase cap is $10,000, so if you're putting a car down payment on a debit swipe, plan around that. For normal grocery, gas, and travel use, you will not run into it. Spending side winner on every metric. Fidelity, not even close. Now, insurance coverage and the quiet fees. This is where the math gets interesting. Vanguard Cash Plus runs an FDIC multi-bank sweep across about 14 partner banks. Individual coverage runs up to $1.25 million. Joint accounts go up to $2.5 million. That is far above the standard $250,000 FDIC cap on any single bank. Fidelity Cash Management's FDIC sweep covers up to $5 million on an individual account. Above that ceiling, balances move into a non-FDIC money market fund. So, if you're parking truly large cash balances, Fidelity has the bigger ceiling by a wide margin. Now, the quiet fees. Vanguard charges a $25 annual account fee. It's waivable. If you enroll in electronic statements, it's gone. But if you don't enroll, or you forget, it shows up on your statement once a year. Your Nerd Wallet specifically flags this fee as the easiest one to miss. Fidelity Cash Management has no annual fee. Period. No maintenance fee. No inactivity fee on the public schedule. No ATM out-of-network fee because the reimbursement covers it. Wire transfers from Fidelity itself are zero. International wires from Fidelity are zero too. Intermediary banks can still take $10 to $50 per hop, which is industry standard and not Fidelity specific. So on insurance ceiling, Fidelity. On quiet fees, also Fidelity. Vanguard isn't punishing you here, but there is more friction. Here's the side-by-side, all 6 axes laid out at once, so you can see why the verdict isn't the same for everyone. Yield on the default sweep. Vanguard, 3.35%. Fidelity, 1.84%. Yield with VUSXX elected on Fidelity, roughly 3.33%. Spending features. Vanguard, no debit card, no checks. Inconsistent bill pay. Fidelity, full Visa, full checks, reliable bill pay, ATM reimbursement worldwide. FDIC ceiling. Vanguard, 1.25 million individual. Fidelity, 5 million individual. SIPC backup. Both have it on the brokerage side, sauce with the same $500,000 cap. Annual account fee. Vanguard, $25 unless you enroll in e-statements. Fidelity, 0. Foreign transaction fee on the card. Vanguard, not applicable, no card exists. Fidelity, 0. Eliminated in September 2024. Brokerage integration. Vanguard, the Cash Plus account is a separate cash vehicle, transfers required to settle trades. Fidelity, the CMA itself is a brokerage account, which means trades can settle directly out of it. Now look at all of that together. On $100,000 idle for a full year, Vanguard pays you about $480 more on the default sweep. But every other axis, Fidelity wins: spending, insurance ceiling, annual fee, brokerage integration, maturity. So we have a yield winner and an everything else winner. I'm the single biggest finding here. The yield gap is real, but the spending gap is bigger, which means the right pick depends entirely on what you do with the money. Let's segment this. If you primarily hold the cash as a sinking fund, an emergency fund, or a short-term savings cushion, and you don't plan to swipe a card or write checks against it, Vanguard Cash Plus is the better fit for someone in that situation. You capture the higher default yield. You stay FDIC insured. You skip the SPAXX confusion entirely. Enrolling in electronic statements waives the $25 annual fee, and you're set. If you primarily spend from the account as your daily checking replacement, and you want a card, ATM access, checks, and bill pay, that works on the first try. Fidelity Cash Management is the better fit for that profile. The default sweep yield is lower, but you can elect SPAXX to recover most of the gap if you're comfortable being on SIPC instead of FDIC, if you travel internationally and rely on ATMs abroad. Fidelity, again. The unlimited global ATM reimbursement plus 0 foreign transaction fees on the card is genuinely rare. Few accounts in this category match it. If you have a 6-figure or 7-figure cash balance and FDIC ceiling matters more than yield. Fidelity at 5 million is the simpler answer. If you already have a Vanguard brokerage and you want one less account to log into. Cash Plus, again, makes sense for that holder. Honest take? For most viewers, I think this comparison serves. The answer might be one of each. Hold long-term cash at Vanguard. Spend daily cash from Fidelity. And the two accounts are not really competing for the same job once you separate spend from hold. A few honest caveats before we wrap. Both rates are variable. Vanguard's 3.35 could drop to 3.10 in October when the boost expires, or lower if rates move. Fidelity's SPAXX 7-day yield moves with the federal funds rate. Don't lock in a forecast. Switching costs are real. Closing one account and opening another takes about a week of transfers and updating direct deposits and auto payments. Plan for it. The SPAXX FDIC switch is the trap most people miss. If you elect it, write it down somewhere you'll remember. You moved out of FDIC. And finally, neither of these accounts beats the top high-yield savings accounts in May 2026 on raw yield alone. Some pure online banks still pay above 4%. Now, the trade-off is you give up the brokerage integration. Choose with the use case in mind, not just the headline rate. If this comparison saved you from picking the wrong account for the wrong reason, a like genuinely helps other viewers find this video. Subscribe if you want more honest financial product reviews with real data and no sponsors. The data is clear. Vanguard Cash Plus wins on default yield and FDIC simplicity. Fidelity Cash Management wins on spending features, insurance ceiling, fees, and brokerage integration. Pick by use case, not by the headline rate. What to do this Monday morning? Decide whether the money in question is meant to sit or to spend. Then open the account that matches that job. Verify the current rates and features directly with each provider before moving any real money. And again, not financial advice. Talk to your own tax or financial advisor before making any account changes that could affect your specific situation. Thanks for watching.